I'm Muhammed Hamdan, and this is Nightline, and here are the top stories. Foreign companies continue to show interest in investing in Malaysia. And the Pamela Ling abduction case, victim's husband among those being investigated by police. Good morning. The runway at Sultan Abdul Halim Airport in Alor has been reopened after a temporary closure due to an incident involving a Royal Malaysian Air Force RMAF aircraft on Tuesday evening. The runway, which was shut down at 5:30 p.m, resumed operations at 8 p.m. following the removal of the aircraft as well as cleaning and safety inspections on the runway. 4 scheduled flights involving both arrivals and departures were affected by the closure and have since been rescheduled. Malaysia Airports had earlier confirmed the runway closure in a statement, noting that it was necessary to facilitate aircraft removal and ensure the runway was safe for operations. Earlier, it was reported that a Hawk 208 light fighter jet suffered landing gear issues while landing on the runway at 5 p.m. The aircraft was involved in an opening gambit rehearsal for the launch of the 2025 Langkawi International Maritime and Aerospace Lima exhibition. Despite various geopolitical tensions and trade wars at the global level, international companies have continued to show interest in investing in Malaysia. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim confirmed on Tuesday that semiconductor giant Advanced Micro Devices Inc. (AMD) is seeking to establish Malaysia as a hub for advanced semiconductor packaging and design. Speaking at an East Coast Rail Link ECRL event in the federal capital, Anwar said AMD will focus on its operations in Pulau Pinang and Cyberjaya. It was in a virtual courtesy call with AMD CEO Lisa Su at the Prime Minister's office on Tuesday morning that AMD expressed support for Malaysia's National Semiconductor Strategy, NSS, which focuses on securing a diversified supply chain.
Dalam masa singkat begitu, kita ada dari syarikat besar Amerika, kemudian Jepun, kemudian Bahrain, dan sekarang gergasi ekonomi dalam tahun ini dan berkembang sebagai kekuatan ekonomi baru dunia, negara China dengan ECRL, dengan hubungan yang sangat baik. Beberapa minggu lalu kita menerima kunjungan Presiden China, Xi Jinping.
Anwar described AMD as a global giant and leader in the high-performance and adaptive computing sector. Anwar reiterated Malaysia's stance as a free, independent and sovereign nation, and that the government opposes unilateral actions such as the US-imposed tariffs. He said while Malaysia is still determining its next steps regarding the tariffs, foreign companies continue to show confidence in the country by choosing to invest and commit to projects. The Prime Minister said a regional summit between ASEAN and Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain and China, represented by Prime Minister Lee Chiang, will be held later this month. Meanwhile, the construction of the ECRL, which spans 4 states, Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang and Selangor, has reached an overall progress of 82.45% as of last month. The first phase, from Kota Baru to the Gombak Integrated Terminal, is expected to be completed by December next year. The second phase, from Gombak to Port Klang, is scheduled for completion by December 2027.
Bukan saja dari segi pengangkutan canggih dan moden dan laju, dan mudah-mudahan hari raya 2027 itu tak ada lagi kesesakan nak balik Kelantan, tetapi dia juga akan memberikan ruang pertumbuhan baru Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang umpamanya.
The ECRL project, costing 50.27 billion ringgit, will require about 1,800 workers when operations begin in 2027. In preparation for its launch, the first group of future ECRL maintenance workers will be sent to China for training on May 15th. Elsewhere in Putrajaya, Anwar said the government is assessing the need to restructure the healthcare financing system. The move aims to make the system more sustainable, inclusive and effective in the long term, in line with the Health White Paper. The Prime Minister emphasized the importance of effective governance, procurement and implementation, alongside the vital roles of various ministries, particularly the Economy Ministry and the Finance Ministry, in planning the next phase of implementation. Anwar highlighted the matter after chairing the 8th meeting of the Malaysian Social Protection Council, which was attended by 6 cabinet ministers and senior civil service officials. The meeting also reviewed the National Ageing Action Framework 2025 to 2045, including efforts to develop a more comprehensive and integrated cross-ministerial governance mechanism. The phased roadmap and transformation initiatives for the healthcare financing system also includes the proposal to establish a national health fund, which the Federation of Malaysian Consumers Associations, FOMCA, described as a timely initiative by Putrajaya.
Now, of course, FOMCA welcomes the move by the government to initiate or consider healthcare financing reforms. It's been long overdue and it's very timely, and it's necessary to ensure long-term sustainability and access to quality healthcare. Now, we can't complain. Malaysia healthcare system has served us well, but we must understand rising costs, aging populations and chronic diseases are putting it under tremendous pressure. Moving forward, any reform must ensure that the financial burden is not shifted unfairly onto consumers, particularly all the vulnerable groups. Now, what we would like to request, of course, transparency, accountability and stakeholder engagement, especially involving consumers, is very critical in designing any new financing model. And also, it must uphold the principle that healthcare is a right, not privilege.
Moving on, police have confirmed that the husband of Datin Sri Pamela Ling is among those being investigated in connection with her abduction last month. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein said investigations are still ongoing and authorities are in the process of identifying several other individuals who may also be involved in the case. According to Razaruddin, the case is being handled by the Kuala Lumpur Police Contingent Headquarters and is being investigated under the Penal Code for kidnapping. The probe is also being assisted by a special team from the Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department.
Buat masa ini, kita kemungkinan itu ke arah itu, dan juga ada orang lain yang siasatan kita masih belum ni lagi, dan kita percaya mungkin ada orang lain lagi yang kita akan ambil sebagai suspek.
He added that the investigation is currently focused on reviewing CCTV footage and analysing witness statements that have been recorded. So far, statements have been taken from at least 16 individuals, including the victim's husband. The motive behind the abduction has yet to be determined. Ling was on her way to the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC's headquarters in Putrajaya on April 9th to give a statement related to an ongoing investigation when she was allegedly abducted. Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad said his ministry will study the demands listed in the memorandum submitted by those who took part in a gathering in Putrajaya on Tuesday. He stressed the importance of giving due consideration to the concerns raised by healthcare professionals. Earlier, hundreds of doctors and medical practitioners gathered outside the Perdana Putra building to protest the implementation of the Price Control and Anti-Profiteering Order 2025, which took effect on May 1st. The regulation requires private clinics and pharmacies to display prices of all medications. The peaceful protest began at 9:30 a.m. and dispersed around 2 hours later after the group handed over a memorandum of protest to a representative from the Prime Minister's office. Previously, the Health Ministry confirmed that no fines or summonses were issued during the 3-month advocacy period ahead of the rule's enforcement. Malaysia is looking to strengthen its position as a global leader in sustainable palm oil, particularly in East Africa. Plantation and Commodities Minister Datuk Seri Johari Abdul Ghani said a strategic collaboration has been formed with multinational company Unilever in Nairobi, Kenya. Johari is leading the Malaysian delegation on a 3-day working visit to the country. The visit included a tour of one of Unilever's largest manufacturing plants in Nairobi, where he was also briefed on the company's operations and sustainability practices.
This is Kenya. So you imagine Kenya have already looked into this very seriously, and I think one day the entire Africa will look at sustainability going forward. Dan saya dapat bawa syarikat-syarikat Malaysia melihat bagaimana pentingnya sustainability ini untuk kita praktiskan di Malaysia.
Malaysia's commitment to sustainability through the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil MSPO certification continues to make it a preferred partner for international producers like Unilever. The MSPO's emphasis on traceability and responsible sourcing has positioned Malaysian companies as reliable suppliers in global markets, including Africa. Last year, Kenya became the largest importer of Malaysian palm oil in sub-Saharan Africa, accounting for 42% of Malaysia's total exports to the region. Currently, Malaysia controls 85% of the Kenyan palm oil market. The global manufacturing sector continues to face headwinds, with the Purchasing Managers' Index, or PMI, falling to 49.1% last month. This marks the second consecutive month of decline and remaining below the 50% threshold that separates growth from contraction. According to the China Federation of Logistics and Purchasing, the downturn is widespread. In the Americas, the index dropped to 48.4%, while Asia slipped but held steady at the 50% mark. Africa and Europe both remained in contraction territory at 49.5% and 48.4% respectively. The latest figures reflect mounting concerns over the global economic outlook. The International Monetary Fund has revised its global growth forecast for 2025 down to 2.8%, while the World Trade Organization expects global merchandise trade to slow significantly to just 0.2%. Gold prices rose to a 2-week high on Tuesday as concerns over US President Donald Trump's tariff plans boosted interest in the safe haven metal. Spot gold gained 0.9% to $3,362.69 an ounce after hitting its highest since April 22nd earlier in the session. US gold futures also reached a 2-week high and were last 2.4% up at $3,403. In the meantime, investors are closely watching the Fed's upcoming policy decision on Wednesday as policymakers begin their 2-day meeting. Three suspects shot dead in raid on vehicle theft syndicate. This and more when we come back.
Aku bekerja dengan company. Company nak aku jaga kampung ni. Selamat datang ke kampung Ketayang. Ada kau batas?
Awak ni perikal tu?
Dialah satu-satunya harapan kita sekarang.
Company yang akan ambil alih perniagaan biji timah.
Dia nak suruh kami semua lawan askar Belanda ke?
Bukan askar Belanda, tapi 6 jelaka.
Powerbank aku mana?
Yang belah si mati punya version, tertuduh ni ambil dia punya powerbank.
Dia bawa pisau, dia sembunyi belakang. Tiba-tiba dia terus terkepar apa semua, terus tikam di dada kiri.
Kehilangan seorang kawan mereka sendiri dan seorang lagi telah merengkuk dalam penjara.
Kau tak payahlah tolak aku. Kau tak tahu nanti.
Aku tak tolak.
Jan, sampai bila kita nak buat kerja ni? Boleh kaya ke?
Syah, kalau kaya tu mudah, dah ramai dah orang kaya, kau tahu.
Kerja buat apa? Ni aku nak buka bisnes kopi untuk kita ni.
Bisnes kopi?
Konsep bisnes kita ni mewah. Biji kopi tu sini kena rare.
Wow, kopi dia memang kau, guys.
Aku ada allergic peanut butter, faham? Aku tu fikir apa kerja yang kita buat sekarang ni semua perangkap tu.
Kita kerja ke mana pun sama aja. Yang lainnya orang keliling kita.
Hidup you banyak tentangan bukan sebab nasib you kurang baik. Tapi perangai you macam...
Kopi, kafe ni bukan dunia aku dan bukan dunia kau juga. Encik Azmi bikin salah. Tapi kau tetap nak kejar kat cita-cita kau tu. Kau kejar.
Korang tak namakan lagi
Aku dah dapat idea dah ni. Nama kita...
Welcome back. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim on Tuesday inspected the preparations for the 46th ASEAN Summit at Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre, KLCC. The Prime Minister's arrival at 3:30 p.m. was received by Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan and Foreign Ministry Secretary General Datuk Seri Amran Muhammad Zin. Among those present to inspect the preparations were Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail and Communications Minister Datuk Fahmi Fadil. Also present was Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Husin. Anwar also visited the ASEAN Malaysia 2025 Chairmanship Security Training Centre. Tuesday is the second day of the training session, held following the National Security Council's move to activate the crisis management team with security agencies to strengthen defence, national security and public order throughout the ASEAN Malaysia Chairmanship 2025. This is the fifth time Malaysia has assumed the ASEAN Chairmanship after holding the position in 1977, 1997, 2005 and 2015. Three local men believed to be members of a pickup truck theft syndicate were shot dead in a gunfight with police during a raid at a homestay in Sik Kedah last Thursday. The operation, which took place in Taman Sejahtera, was launched following a series of pickup truck thefts reported in Melaka, Selangor, Pahang and Perak. Acting on intelligence, a joint Criminal Investigation Department CID team from Bukit Aman as well as the Kedah and Melaka contingents carried out the raid at 2:30 a.m. Two of the suspects, who were in the master bedroom of the homestay, fired multiple shots at the police team, prompting officers to return fire in self-defense. The duo were killed on the spot, while another suspect emerged from a separate room and charged at the team with a parang.
Satu cuba melarikan diri daripada pintu belakang, tak salah saya. Dalam dia cuba melarikan diri, dia telah melibas salah seorang anggota saya. Alhamdulillah, kerana disebabkan beliau memakai baju kalis peluru tu tak kena. Dan akhirnya beliau ditumpaskan juga.
Checks revealed that the suspects, aged between 27 and 35, had prior criminal records, including drug-related offences. The syndicate is believed to be responsible for at least 73 cases of pickup truck theft since 2023, with 18 of those reported in Melaka alone between January and April this year. Police also seized 26 counterfeit registration plates believed to have been used in the syndicate's vehicle theft operations. 4 Thai nationals aged between 34 and 58, believed to be involved in transporting stolen vehicles to northern Thailand, have also been arrested by Thai authorities to assist with the investigation. A Singaporean man is facing the death sentence after being charged in the Johor Bahru Sessions Court on Tuesday with 5 counts of possessing and trafficking drugs last month. No plea was recorded from the accused, 47-year-old Tan Ban Chun, as the case falls under the jurisdiction of the High Court. Tan, who is unemployed, was charged under the Dangerous Drugs Act with trafficking more than 10 kilograms of MDMA powder at a house in Danga Bay on April 23rd. The offence provides for the death death penalty or 30 years imprisonment and a minimum of 15 strokes of the rotan upon conviction. He was also charged under the same act with 4 counts of possessing 9 grams of heroin, 44 grams of ganja, 6 grams of MDMA and over 31 grams of ketamine at the same location and time. For these offences, he faces up to 5 years in prison and a maximum 9 strokes of the rotan if proven guilty. The court fixed July 29th for case mention. New Zealand moves to ban children from social media. The details when Nightline returns.
Power bank aku mana?
Yang belah si mati punya version, tertuduh ni ambil dia punya power bank.
Dia bawa pisau, dia sembunyi belakang. Tiba-tiba dia terus terkepar apa semua, terus tikam di dada kiri.
Kehilangan seorang kawan mereka sendiri dan seorang lagi telah merengkup dalam penjara.
Pisang emas diiktiraf sebagai pisang terbaik 2025. Saiznya comel, rasa manis. Ia membawa nama Malaysia ke persada dunia.
Kes pelajar terkena penyakit bawaan air selepas perkemahan di sungai. Cakna kebersihan kawasan riadah anda.
Angkara AI remaja reka video lucah jadikan rakan sebagai mangsa. AI teknologi maju tetapi disalahguna.
Obses barangan berjenama tapi nak harga murah. Adakah harga menjejaskan kualiti dan keselamatan? Isnin hingga Jumaat jam 10 pagi juga stream ditonton.
Hanya di TV3.
Aku bekerja dengan company. Company nak aku jaga kampung ni. Selamat datang ke kampung Ketayang. Ada kau batas?
Awak ni perikal tu?
Dialah satu-satunya harapan kita sekarang.
Company akan ambil alih perniagaan biji timah.
Dia nak suruh kami semua lawan askar Belanda ke?
Bukan askar Belanda, tapi 6 jelaka.
Kebenaran!
Hai kawan-kawan pernah tak rasa tak selesa bila ada orang cuba sentuh badan kita? Kawan-kawan ni ingat tahu badan kita ni milik kita. Kalau ada orang sentuh tapi izin, korang cakap tidak. Lepas tu korang bagi tahu ibu bapa ataupun cikgu ataupun kakak dan abang, okey?
Betul tu. Ingat, tak ada orang yang boleh buat kita rasa takut dan tak selesa. Kita berhak rasa selamat dan dilindungi.
On to the foreign front. New Zealand's Prime Minister on Tuesday proposed banning children under 16 from social media in a bid to protect young people from online harm such as cyberbullying, exposure to violent content and addiction.
That's right. This is about protecting our children. It's about making sure that social media companies are playing their role in keeping all of our kids safe.
The draft law will require platforms to verify users' ages or face fines of up to $1.2 million. The proposal now awaits parliamentary ballot selection and will need support from coalition partners to pass. The proposal has since garnered public support, with a poll indicating that over 2/3 of residents back the restriction. However, critics argue that such a ban could disconnect marginalised youth from vital online communities. Israel on Monday carried out airstrikes across Gaza, Yemen, Lebanon and Syria in one of its most widespread military offensives to date. At least 54 people were killed in Gaza alone, where Israeli forces continue to push south under their new offensive plan. In response, Hamas declared there is no sense in ceasefire talks, accusing Israel of waging a hunger war by blocking food aid and targeting civilian infrastructure. Meanwhile, strikes in Yemen targeted Houthi bases after a missile near Tel Aviv injured 6, while Lebanon and Syria were hit for launching cross-border attacks. In other news, the Trump administration on Monday announced a freeze on over $2.2 billion in federal grants to Harvard University after the Ivy League institution rejected demands to reform its policies on campus anti-Semitism, diversity initiatives and faculty hiring practices. The Education Department warned that nearly $9 billion in future funding could be at risk unless Harvard complies. Harvard called the move unconstitutional and filed a lawsuit arguing it violates academic freedom and threatens crucial research. President Donald Trump has also threatened to revoke Harvard's tax exempt status and limit its ability to enroll international students. The standoff marks a broader push by the administration to pressure universities seen as liberal strongholds. Switching to sports, football, Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh on Tuesday called for football clubs to be managed only by those with genuine financial and managerial capabilities. This is to ensure the sustainability of the domestic league and to safeguard the welfare of players. She said the failure of some clubs to manage fundamental responsibilities, such as paying salaries and ensuring players' welfare, has likely undermined efforts to attract and retain sponsors in support of football development. Yeoh pointed out that football is not a cheap sport, as it requires a vast ecosystem to ensure the smooth running of the league and the development of players. Her remarks come amid a worsening financial crisis in local football, with Perak FC recently announcing that it would be dissolving its team and pulling out of the Super League after spending 40 million ringgit over the past 3 years. On to snooker. The World Snooker Championship in Sheffield, United Kingdom. Zhao Xintong became the first Chinese player to win the tournament with a victory over three-time winner Mark Williams on Monday. The 28-year-old made history at Sheffield's Crucible Theatre by winning 18 frames to 12, becoming the first amateur to claim the world title despite a spirited comeback attempt from Williams. Along with the $625,000 top prize, Zhao will also climb to 11th in the world rankings when he returns to the main professional tour next season. Zhao had previously received a 20-month ban in January 2023 after a match-fixing scandal that rocked the sport, the repercussions of which meant he was classed as an amateur at this event and needed to get through 4 rounds of qualifying to reach the Crucible. And that wraps up this edition of Nightline. We leave you with visuals of Hollywood stars hitting the red carpet at New York City's Metropolitan Museum of Art's annual A-List Gala. With that, I'm Muhammed. Hamdan. Thanks for watching and stay safe.